That's facts, man. Those are the facts.
But I feel like you taking a shot at me.
No, I really wasn't. Honestly,
Okay.
I was just saying that wasn't exciting. There was no intrigue.
Okay,
there.
just making sure you want to take a shot.
No doubt.
But this is the best time of year. I mean, we got free agency coming up. Going to be exciting. I mean, to see what these guys do. We got some of the elite, if not, well, I would say Durant and LeBron, the top two players in the league, with some Paul George and Chris Paul, guys that are future Hall of Famers that are going to make some life decisions coming up in a couple of days. So I'm excited about that.
A lot of Kawhi Leonard talk as well. Could he be on the move?
Yeah.
That's a hot topic. You know, we'll certainly dive into that. That's one of the many topics we'll discuss. Also a trade between the Wizards and the Clippers. So a lot of topics that we will get into. But I want to start things off with a little bit of fun. Because you know you said you wanted me to switch some things up. I didn't tell you about it. So we're going to begin this show with a little something I call Name That Teammate.
Ooh.
I'm going to give a couple of things about a guy that you play with. You know, maybe not some stats per se, but where they went to college, when they got drafted.
Name that teammate.
Name that teammate. We're going to do three guys.
Wow.
Caught you off guard. But that's how we roll. We're here to have fun.
You know I had a lot of teammates, right?
You surely did. So I'm going to start with one I feel like is pretty easy.
Okay.
The second one will get a little bit tougher.
Okay.
And then the third one will be the most difficult, I would say. First teammate, he played at Temple University. That's why I chose the guy.
He played at Temple?
Played at Temple University.
Wow.
1994 draft, the 10th overall pick.
And at Temple University?
He played at Temple University. Now, we haven't had too many stars like that or very good players. I wouldn't even call him a star. We haven't had too many very good players like that.
At Temple?
At Temple University.
Wow, you got me stunned.
94 draft, 10th pick.
Ah, man, you got me stunned.
Tell me if you need another clue. I can give you another clue if you need one.
I'm trying to think. I stop at the Kerry Kittles, Lorenzen Wright. Yeah, I don't know who went 10. But y'all ain't got nobody. Who Temple had? Mark Macon?
I think he was a little bit
Before my time, right?
Yeah.
No, give me another clue.
He was a 3-time All-Star. So this guy wasn't a bum.
Temple University.
Temple University,
Wow.
94 draft, 10th pick, 3-time All-Star. This was supposed to be the easy one. This was supposed to be easy. All right, when I give you
You
this
got the
clue,
right college?
you tripping, man. You tripping. When I give you this clue, you played with him in Miami, so that should narrow things down quite a bit.
At Temple University, I played with him in Miami?
Played with him in Miami. Went to Temple.
3-time All-Star.
3-time All-Star, so he wasn't a bum. He was in the 94 draft and the 10th pick. That's all the clues I can give you, really. I can tell you he played the 2 or 3 positions, shooting guard and small forward. And that's all the clues I have written down, because I thought you would have had it by now.
Man, Temple University's throwing me for a loop. And I'm actually...
Because Temple... What's up?
I know who it is.
Who is it?
Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones is correct. Temple University. Because Temple only had like Aaron McKee and maybe like Pepe Sanchez and Eddie Jones. And that was, you know, it gets short after that. But well done, well done. See there? I made you think a little bit.
I didn't know he went to Temple, though.
You didn't know Eddie Jones went to Temple?
Nah.
So how did you guess it, though, if you didn't know he went to Temple?
Nah, I didn't know he went to Temple. I got a little help off IG.
Oh, what in the world? People help you on IG? Come on, that's not fair. All right, we're going to get a little tougher then. We got 2
I
more.
got a little help off IG,
be
man.
cheap
That's good.
with
They
IG.
locked in.
Okay.
They
all
locked
right.
into the conversation right now.
Here we go. This guy played at Georgia Tech.
Oh, I know that is. Kenny Anderson.
I wouldn't go that easy. 2003 draft, 29th overall pick.
He was my teammate.
He was your teammate. Everybody, the whole thing is name that teammate. So these are guys you play with. You may not have played with him long, because I think you only played with Eddie Jones for like 1 year. Maybe 2.
1 year.
1 year. So I didn't say you played with him long.
2003. I was in Boston? No, I wasn't.
You weren't in Boston.
I was not in Boston.
Nope.
See, I got that right. I know who this is. Travis Best.
No, sir. No, sir. 2003 draft. That's not Travis Best. He thought he had it, too.
He did. He was confident about that
We
one.
had your face on the Facebook Live. You thought you had nailed that one. You thought you had nailed that one. He did make an all-star team. 1 All-Star appearance. See that? So I'm not just giving you straight bums. I'm giving you guys who did some things in the league. Made an All-Star appearance.
He
So
played with me in Dallas or
play with you in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Like you mentioned, play with you in Dallas. 29th overall pick, 2003 draft. Made an All-Star team.
It's not much. Man,
Georgia Tech.
wow. And it wasn't Travis Best?
Was not Travis Best. Was not Travis Best.
And he got drafted.
You know what? All right. So I blew this one.
Okay. Okay.
I
Wrong
blew
college, right?
Wrong college. Wrong college.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was like in Atlanta, though. All right. He played at Wake Forest.
Josh Howard.
Josh Howard.
Yeah,
so, all right. Error on the announcer. Error on the announcer. The college was throwing you
I
off.
like that, but just threw me off.
Okay. So once I said Wake Forest.
I had to start thinking about my teammates, so you throwing me off.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Here we go. Final one. And I'm pretty sure I wrote this one down correctly. This is supposed to be the most difficult one. 1990 draft. 40th overall pick. I will say he played with him in Boston because you had a lot of teammates in Boston. Played with him in Boston.
What school?
Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. Yeah, that don't help at all. That does not help.
I played with him in '96.
You played with him in Boston. I didn't necessarily say you played with him in '96.
Virginia. Brian Stiff.
That's not it. That's not correct.
University of Virginia?
No, it is Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University.
And they only had like 3 players in history.
Oh, man, hell, I ain't going to get that one.
This was more difficult.
Yeah.
He played the point guard position. Never made an All-Star team. Let's see what year you would have played with him. Once again, I think you only played with
D. Brown?
No, not D. Brown.
What D. Brown? And Dana Barris with the Boston College, BC, right?
Point guard position. I think you only played with him 1 year. I think you might have played with him in 02.
Eric Strickland?
Who was that?
Eric Strickland?
No. You played with him in 02, 03.
Oh, man.
That's the year you played with him. 02, 03. 02, 03.
He was point guard.
Point guard.
Virginia.
Some little small Virginia Polytechnic. Let me see if he got a lot of run.
Where did you get this from?
I just came up with it because I just wanted to have a little fun. I wanted to be out of the box.
No. I don't mind. I'm just like, where you get this guy from?
Oh, because I wanted to make
this a guy that he was thick. This a 10-day guy.
No. You know what though? No, he was in the season for probably like 10 years.
This a guy for 10 days, 10-day roster.
No, he played actually 14 games that year with Boston. 14 games, but he was in the league for like 13 years. You'll know this guy. So I didn't just take some type of guy.
He played 14 games with me.
He played 14.
Do you know I don't remember 4 guys played 14 games? I told you I played with a lot of guys. Oh my God, I can't guess.
He played 14 games. Virginia Polytechnic. He had a kind of a crazy nickname, crazy first name. Let me see if I give you his real first name, because everybody goes by the nickname for the first name is Vernell, but nobody calls him by Vernell. I never knew Vernell was his name.
Man, I don't know.
You're not sure?
This guy probably was a bum.
Vernon Maxwell.
No, not Vernon Maxwell.
Vernon Maxwell. Can't be Vernon.
Bimbo Coles.
Bimbo. Oh, wow.
Bimbo Coles.
Bimbo.
Listen, I would have never.
You would have never got that one.
Wow.
Never in a million. I forgot I played with Bimbo Coles.
In Boston that
Yeah.
1 year. But he's definitely not a bum. Definitely not a guy who was a 10-day guy. But once again, he didn't play that much that season. I don't know if he was injured.
No, he wasn't a bum, but he was a journeyman.
Right.
He was a journeyman. He had some good years.
Played with Miami, played with Golden
I was
State,
gonna say he had some good years with the Heat.
Atlanta,
Good,
Cleveland.
Good serviceable bag up.
And he was on his way out because that was his second to last season
Not
when
bad.
he played in Boston.
Good serviceable bag. That's a good one. Bimbo Coles.
Bimbo Coles. Well, not bad. Trying to have a little fun, do a little something different. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 on Name That Teammate. I plan to bring it every single week because, as you mentioned, you played with a whole lot of teammates.
Well, I played on 16s. There's some guys that did me like that too. Some guys that played on more than 16s too.
So it's plenty of guys to choose from. So I don't think I'll have any issues trying to come up with guys. But I don't want to make it too easy for you. You know, some of the guys that are obvious. But 2 out of 3, not bad.
That was pretty good. Bimbo Coles, I'd never guessed that.
let's dip back into the NBA draft. Just wanted to open that up. For me, one of the big things that everybody was talking about that I do want to get your take on is the trade between the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, the Atlanta Hawks drafted Luka Doncic at number 3, and the Mavs drafted Trae Young at 5. Then they went ahead and traded, so the Hawks got Trae Young, and the Mavs got Luka Doncic. Also, the Mavs sent a 2019 first-round pick, top 5 protected, to the ATL. Many people looking at the Hawks front office a little bit sideways, like, you had Luka Doncic. He had the hat on, and you're going to give him up for Trae Young. People feel like in the future that's going to be a decision that we look at with a lot of question marks, something that the Hawks organization botched. Do you feel that same way? Because on the last show, I wasn't too high on Luka Doncic, so I'm not down on the Atlanta Hawks organization for what they did the way many people are. What's your thoughts?
What's the correct pronunciation of his name?
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic. Well, my opinion of him, and obviously everybody, he's a pro. He's been playing professional since I think he was like 15. They all say he'll be ready to go as a pro. A guy that gets averages 8 points a game, no. And coming into this league, it's going to be very difficult for him. We have had some Europeans come over and be very successful in the NBA. He's highly rated as one of the guys that's going to be able to come in and play right away. But for Atlanta, it's a great move. I play for the Atlanta Hawks, and people got to understand, one, and this may be funny, they have some of the worst traffic in the world. and then two, the fan base. You have to get a player that the fans can relate to. Trae Young was one of the highly best players in college basketball this year. He had a run at about 2 months where he was the best player in college basketball. So I think people relate to that even better when you're trying to sell tickets. A lot of people don't understand when you're drafting guys too. Sometimes you do want to pick what the fans want.
Okay.
Because they're just going to come out and draft ticket sales. But I think Trae Young's got star potential. In a league that the point guard position is the best position, he has star potential to be that. He's a little small. I think he measures out like 5'11", 6 feet. So he's not very tall. But his ability to shoot the basketball, and one thing that stood out to me about Trae Young is that he can pass the basketball. I mean, he averaged 8, 9 assists. That is very difficult.
Led the nation in points and assists.
That's very difficult to do at the collegiate level when you look at his type of teammates that he played with. It's not like he played with great teammates. So for him to put up the numbers that he put up, knows this is a special talent the Atlanta Hawks picked up. So I think it's a great move for the Hawks. They had to make this move. They couldn't afford to take a European guy, a guy that they had to sell the fans to, somebody that they didn't know very well. I think Trae Young is a guy that keeps the fan base happy, and he'll be a good pick for them. Dennis Schroeder has talked about how he wants to get traded and move on. So they gave him big money. This is a new ownership. This is a new coach, GM. This is a new coach. And usually when you get all three of those new things, they want to bring in their own players. So you got to be respectful to that. So I like the pick Trae Young. I thought Atlanta made the right decision in making the pick, and then to be able to get a 219 pick as well is great.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm certainly not upset, and I won't crush the Atlanta organization because, to your point, Trae Young might be a better fit in terms of star power, somebody that the Atlanta Hawks fan base can get behind, whereas we know Dallas, what they had with Dirk for so long, it'd be easier for Dallas fans to embrace an international guy.
I played for both organizations.
Okay, true indeed.
I played for both, for a full year. I understand how both organizations work. Atlanta's fan base is from everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, it was crazy. We would play the New York Knicks and be sold out when I was in Atlanta. But it was so many people from from New York that had moved to Atlanta. Then, in Dallas, the crowd has already been set for the last 15, 20 years. Well, since Mark Cuban's taken over, they sell out every game regardless. You got a European Hall of Famer, a guy who's made that transition, who was highly touted coming out when he came over, and that's Dirk Nowitzki. So you got somebody that can mentor him, make sure he gets into the right situation, can play with him, to make the game a lot easier because you got a superstar, even though Dirk is not the same guy that he was, but you still have him on the team, and you also playing with, Harrison Barnes, Wesley Matthews, Dennis Smith Jr. So you got some pieces in play where he can kind of ease in. Where Atlanta's in a full-blown rebuilding stage with a new coach, his first time coaching, new ownership group. So Trae Young, I think, is the perfect pick for this team.
When you look at Trae Young, they drafted another guy out of Maryland, Kevin Werter, and another guy, Omari Spellman from Villanova. Some people saying the GM came from Golden State, so he's trying to develop a roster similar to Golden State. The Werter guy, sort of like Clay, that's what he said he aspires to be, and Spellman, sort of like Draymond. Any chance they could try to pull that off? It's hard to be compared to the Warriors and the Dynasty.
I don't think those guys are, and obviously Draymond was a pretty good college player.
Right.
I mean, he's probably 20 pounds lighter than he was in college, but he was still a very good college player. When you look at Clement Townsend, knockdown shooter, very good at University of Washington, and obviously Steph, we know what he did at Davidson. So it's got some similarities when you think about their 3 picks. Obviously, you have to build and have the patience to allow these guys to develop. And I think that's going to be the most important part. One thing about Golden State, they had the patience to allow these guys to develop. They also kept decent players around them, not necessarily just threw them to the wolves. I mean, those Golden State teams in the beginning were still very competitive, even though they may not have been the dominant team that they are today. But Mark Jackson started it, getting those 2 guys in the playoffs. Mark Jackson started it with building confidence in them, called them the Splash Brothers, and doing all those things to build their confidence. Because you got to remember, Ken Basemore was a part of that group too. Another guy who signed with the Atlanta Hawks who got a big free agent contract. So they had a lot of pieces to that pie that was really good at Golden State. And hopefully Atlanta's going to be able to do that. Atlanta right now is not a great free agent destination right now. So they're going to have to do it through the draft and make sure that they continue building. And getting that 219 pick was huge to be able to get that, because you know that. So this is going to probably take them 2-3 years to get what they want to get. But everybody, it's the style of play to play. I mean, this is what everybody wants to play. To be able to make 15, 16 threes a game, to maybe shoot 30, 35 threes a game. That's the style that the fans of customers like. Golden State obviously has proven that you can win that way. You look at Houston Rockets, it took it a whole nother level, shooting 40 threes a game. And they won 65 games and lost in the Western Conference Finals. So we know that style of play can be very successful. So why not try it if you got the pieces in play to do it?
Do you believe Dallas has a little something with the Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr. that might be your backcourt, and then add in a Harrison Barnes? With those 3 guys, you think Dallas has something, or they still very far away and still need a whole lot more pieces?
My problem with Dallas is I don't know if Harrison Barnes has improved to me to be a 24, 25-point scorer night in, night out.
Really?
They're missing that.
Okay.
He's had some nights where he scored the basketball well. Wesley Matthews is, I think, is a guy who's a hard worker. Coming out that, I think he tore his Achilles.
You are correct.
He tore his Achilles. He got back to normal a little bit. Shoots a little too many threes for me at times, but they've got some pieces in play.
That's where the NBA is, as you mentioned.
But you know what the good thing about them, they don't necessarily have to full-blown rebuild.
Okay.
And I think Mark Cuban, see, it's a difference. I think, you think about free agent spots, and we like, oh, this spot. When you got Mark Cuban, the salesman, he can get a guy. I mean, he got DeAndre Jordan to come over.
Almost.
If they could have signed that day and they didn't have to wait 9 days,
he probably would have had him.
But anyway, so he's able to talk to guys and get them in there. And Mark Cuban, and taking from a guy who played there 03, 04, is one of the best owners in the league. He treats his veterans very well. He treats his superstars like no other. So he does a terrific job of treating his players. You're never going to hear anything bad coming out of the Dallas camp about how he treats players. So he's going to be able to attract free agents. So Dallas is not far away from turning that corner to being a playoff team.
Right. Some people feel like they need a center, so we'll dive into that a little bit. whether they go after DeMarcus
And they got a great
Cousins.
coach, Hall of Fame coach in Rick
Rick
Carlisle.
Carlisle, hands
so
down.
you got to remember they got a great coach in Rick Carlisle too.
That certainly helps the process as you try to become relevant once again in the West. So much more to get to on the South Side Heat. On the other side, we'll talk about the trade that took place between the Washington Wizards and the LA Clippers, and we will dive into the big names in free agency. Braun, Paul George, and could Kawhi Leonard be on the way out of San Antonio? Stay with us. South Side Heat coming right back. On the way to begin to name that teammate, somebody wrote in who that was? For real?
Eddie Jones, yeah.
That's crazy. Eddie Jones. No, other than Aaron McKee.
I couldn't think about. I think Temple.
Yeah.
Mark Macon went to Temple, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I was like, no, I ain't playing with Mark Macon, but it felt like I did. You had me so confused. Eddie was my man. I played 1 year with Eddie Jones.
Right. Mark Macon, yeah, Temple 91 draft, so he was even older. Yeah. Temple 1991. That's about it. You know who Pepe Sanchez is, the guard? Little like a little Mexican dude.
Temple?
Yeah. He was probably in the league like
Who was
three.
what team you watch?
Huh?
What team did you watch when you were there?
It was a dude. Pepe was there. It was a dude. Mark Karcher. I don't know if that makes. Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
The information I've been stealing.
How y'all doing? Good.
But they had went to like an Elite Eight or something like that. This dude, Lynn Greer, lefty dude.
Oh, okay. That's why I want to know you watch. Oh, yeah, Glenn.
You familiar with him, Lynn Greer? You know him? You heard of him before?
T. McCoy.
But nah, you familiar with that dude, Lynn Greer?
Yeah.
Lefty dude?
He's good.
Yeah, he
Thought he had a shot for a while.
He did.
Wow, you be posting
He said, I can't cross promote music. Some Mars.
Y'all coming in smelling like potpourri in this motherfucker. Dang. Y'all coming in smelling like potpourri.
better than alcohol. Hey.
Seconds.
All right.
I know, because y'all drunk and y'all don't know this shit.
You know I ain't. I'm definitely.
We back on the South Side Heat. Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Twan Walker 8 on IG. C Townsend TV on the gram. We always posting clips from the show. Holler at us on Twitter, Facebook as well. Send us your questions. We continue the NBA conversation. There was a trade that we saw in the league, Antoine. The Washington Wizards sent Marcin Gortat to the LA Clippers. In exchange, Washington gets Austin Rivers. So now the Clippers have a center. We'll get into that part. Where does that leave DeAndre Jordan? There was just a one player for one player swap. Marcin's deal, he has a 1 year left, final year of his deal, $13.6 million. Austin Rivers about 12.5. Certainly, one of the issues that the Wizards have had is the backup point guard position. Mm-hmm. You know, they had Ty Lawson, they had Tim Frazier. Now you get a guy, Austin Rivers, who can shoot the ball. Maybe that helps, you know, at that backup point guard spot. And Gortat seemed like he had a lot of beef with John Wall. That's one reason why many people feel like the Wizards made this trade to kind of clean the air, get some of that tension out the locker room. It seemed like they had a rift between the two. What's your take on the deal between the Wizards and the Clippers?
I think the second part right there about Washington making the move, I think, was the situation with him and John Wall and Gortat going out publicly and kind of going at John Wall how the ball moves and things were better. Make it seem like things were better without John Wall. And obviously they showed you in the beginning of the season when they signed John Wall to a 5-year, $170 million extension that he was the guy that they were going to build around. And like I know, if you know, Clement, when I just give a guy $170 million,
that's my guy.
That's my guy.
No doubt.
So that's my guy. So I think that situation is true. I do like Austin Rivers for them. I think a lot of people don't like Austin Rivers. He's gotten a bad rap in this league for whatever reason. But I think he's a great pickup for them because they're in need of improving their bench so bad.
True.
He's a combo guard. He can play the 1 and the 2. He's had big scoring nights. I think by playing with the Clippers, he's been in meaningful games. You know, obviously playing with Blake and Chris Paul, so he's played in a ton of meaningful games. Career-wise for him, may be better. You hear your dad coach you from you 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and obviously he played at Duke, a great coach, Mike Krzyzewski. But to play up under your dad for so long, I mean, maybe he needs another voice. And that's not saying he had a bad season when he was playing bad.
He was averaging 15 a
yeah,
game.
so he was actually a good piece for them. But I'm going to just say this about this. I'm not going to lie, Clement. I got 2 daughters. You have a daughter. I'm not trading my son. I don't care what nobody says.
He didn't trade his son.
Yeah, he did.
He
lost
lost
okay,
the front office.
okay, so,
Right,
so
he
you,
lost the front office.
well, let's-
Technically, he didn't trade his son.
Okay, then, so let me break this down. Okay, obviously the GM has to say so.
Right.
Over whether you want to trade. So I'm just saying, Lawrence Frank, a guy that, let's just put this in perspective, let's everything I hear. Doc Rivers hired Lawrence Frank and said, I'm going to move you from the bench upstairs to handle my GM duties. You don't think he talked to Doc and say, look, I can make this work. They want your son.
Well, I think...
Because I'm pretty sure Washington called.
Right, but I think this shows now that he doesn't have the final say. To your point, they may have told him it's going down, but it's nothing Doc could do about it because now you're just the coach. So we let you know, but you can't stop this. So I think that's what we can gather from this. Doc doesn't have that power to veto or, say what comes and what goes in terms of the roster and the personnel and who gets traded.
Well, that'll be good. I mean, that's tough. I mean, it's to have both of those titles is very difficult. We've watched Doc. I wouldn't say Doc wasn't successful because they were a 50-plus win team. They had some injuries in the playoffs that stopped them from getting over the hump. So it's hard for me to say that Doc wasn't successful at doing both jobs. I look at Stan Van Gundy, struggled, Detroit, wasn't able to do it. I look at Tom Thibodeau, in a situation right now, did make the playoffs, jury's still out on what he's going to do doing both. So you've got some coaches that have had both titles and have done, okay jobs. My thing for Doc is that if I have a say-so or trade my son, I'm just not. I'm going to tell you something, and this is the reason why I say it, Clement. The reason why. When you get traded, it's not a good thing. I think a lot of people think it's a good thing when you get traded. When you get traded, it's not a good thing. It becomes contagious. It becomes a situation where, people don't think you're as good as you are. It just moving around this league is not good. It's always nice to stay at home.
So you saying the leash gets shorter once that first trade happens?
Yeah, because he's in a situation right now. He's going to his last year of his deal. If things don't work out in Washington, he goes to another team. Next thing you know, you'd have been on 3 teams in a year and a half.
And the thing about it is, he's in the final year of his contract. So it's certainly no guarantee that he'll end up with a long-term deal with the Wizards. So like you're saying, it's very likely, since he had to work out a new deal, that if it don't work in that 1 year, he could be on the move again.
Well, that's to his favor. So that's sometimes that works in the player's favor because obviously you get traded to a situation that doesn't work for you.
Right.
He has the option to go somewhere else.
You'd be a free agent,
Yeah.
so you can see you could potentially find yourself a better fit as a free agent.
Yeah, and now the other part of the trade, DeAndre Jordan. You talked about him and them not having a center, and now they traded to keep a center. DeAndre Jordan's probably going to opt out his deal.
Okay.
But there's some clauses in there. He has a 15% trade kicker in this deal. That if he opts in, and if they see, if I was him, I would opt in.
Okay.
Now you get the 15% trade
When
kicker.
you trade me, yeah.
So that's like an extra. I think with his money, it was like another $4 million he can get.
Because his salary is $24 million.
Right. So he can get like another $4 million or something like that if he gets traded. So if I'm him, I mean, it's a tough decision because you hate to leave that type of money on the table, but I don't know I don't know what team is starting DeAndre Jordan off at 24. I don't know.
Yeah. But you know what, though? The word is, though, that the Mavericks are taking a strong look at him. Again. That's the word.
I just think it's hard. I think he didn't miss his beat because he ended up getting paid.
Right.
It's hard for me to pay a true center $24 million, especially in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Where you're playing against stretch fours, you're playing against versatile bigs, and you actually can play in the Western Conference maybe without a center. I mean, you
Possible. That's what we see the Warriors doing, piecemealing it.
Yeah, and
Zaza, JaVale McGee.
And even the centers that's in the West are all guys that step out and shoot the three.
Right.
Look at Marc Gasol. Look at Karl Anthony Towns. Look at Anthony Davis. Look at Boogie Cousins. These are some of the guys that are in the Western Conference that you got to go against night in, night out. I don't necessarily know if I want to play DeAndre Jordan $24 million a year at my center position. Great shot blocker, one of the best rebounders of our time, doesn't shoot free throws well, don't have a lot of range outside of 3-4 feet.
Don't have any post moves that I really know. Maybe a drop step
so
and dunk.
it's hard for me to give him 20.
That's about it.
It's hard for me to give him 24. So I think he needs to be very cautious in his decision and make sure the market is right. If you got Dallas ready to give you a deal, then that's a different story. Obviously, you opt out and you take your deal now.
Right.
But if I'm DeAndre Jordan, I'm opting into my 24. That means I make 28 if they trade me, and I would be a free agent next summer.
It might be a sign and trade. Mark Stein, his report is the Mavs are spending a few days before the start of free agency trying to execute a trade for DeAndre Jordan. So to your point, maybe you opt in and then Dallas trades you.
Right. I mean,
you
you opt in, get your money. You'll make $28 million. I mean, I don't think he's going to see that kind of money again. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban them may see his value, may believe he's a game changer, but I'm not giving no center.
24?
Huh?
For 24 though?
Nah, I'm not giving no change. I'm not giving no center 24.
How crazy would it be, though, with the situation that happened in 2015 that you referenced earlier, where it seemed like DeAndre Jordan was set on going to Dallas, and I believe he gave him a verbal only to go back to the Clippers, whether it was Chris Paul and Blake, had him, holed up in a room in his crib, or however the situation actually played out, but that he remained in L.A. How crazy would it be now, though, for him to be like, you know what? A few years later, I think I'm ready to move. And Mark, you liked me before. Let's do it this time, Mark.
Well, you know what? What might intrigue him, and we see this now, guys are talking about this a lot, that's where he's from.
Okay.
So he gets a chance to go home.
He is from Texas, played at Texas A&M.
Yeah, so I think we got to make sure that we let the people know that that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he's really considering that, because he's from there.
From Houston, but still Texas
he's
guy.
a Texas guy. That was one of the big selling points the first time around in the free agent market. I like DeAndre Jordan. I think he's a good piece to a team. I just think, when you talk about paying him, that kind of money, if I'm paying a guy $24-25 million, I got to be able to play him late in the fourth quarter. I got to be able to know he's going to be able to guard somebody. I just think he's too limited for the day and age of these point guards. And these bigs. Pick and roll, he's going to struggle in the pick and roll because he's not, he's athletic, but he's not a guy that can, necessarily sit down on all these tough point guards. So I just can't. I just think, just for rebounding and blocking a few shots, I'm not gonna give a guy $24 million.
Let's move over to the elephant in the room, and I guess that would be the status of Kawhi Leonard. It looked like at one point that the Spurs were gonna try to make it work, and they were gonna try to talk him off the ledge and keep Kawhi. But now reports came out today from Mark Stein that sources tell Mark Stein that the Spurs are ready to move on, quote unquote, from Kawhi. And there are also reports that the Spurs have reopened talks with the Lakers to try to get the star player Kawhi Leonard.
And Boston.
Boston as well in the mix, but we do know that Kawhi has said his preference would be to go to LA. Now, we had Jabari Young on the show last week. He's the Spurs reporter. He's right there in San Antonio, covers them for the San Antonio Express News. He's putting out there that LA doesn't only mean the Lakers. LA could be the Clippers, so don't necessarily rule them out. Many people just assume that it's the Lakers and the Lakers only. Do you think the Spurs end up trading Kawhi Leonard when you look into your crystal ball?
Obviously, I think they're going to trade him. I think if we had the rumors that Popovich went out there to meet with him, and he has $220 million on the table. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. So when if you're Kawhi Leonard and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna leave this $220 on the table and money's not.
But here's the thing, though. They haven't necessarily offered that to him
We
just
don't
yet.
know in the meeting if they offered that.
Okay.
I'm assuming that was one of. I can't see Popovich going out there and not saying that we're gonna give you the super max. That's something that was on the table.
I'll put it like this. I feel like, and we don't know. I feel like if that would have been offered, we would have heard that. Because you know the day and age in which we live, where we got so many insiders and so much social media, I think it would be hard for that not to come out. That's a huge story.
Right.
That's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Okay, well, let me give it to you from both sides. If I'm the San Antonio Spurs, one, Kawhi Leonard can't tell me where I'm going. Kawhi Leonard is considered a top 5 player, so I got to get max value back for him. First of all, I don't want to see him 4 times. I don't want to see him 4 times. I don't want him to stop me in the playoffs. I have to play him in the playoffs. I'm sending them east. And if I'm sending them east, I got one place in mind.
Philly or Boston?
Boston got the most pieces.
Philly got a lot of pieces too, though. They do have some pieces. They got some.
Philly don't have any pieces. Everybody keeps saying Philly, like LeBron to Philly. They don't even have a cap room to sign LeBron.
They got cap room, bro.
They don't. They got $26 million. They got to get rid of Jared Bayless. They don't have the cap room.
They only need to make up about $8 million.
Okay, $8.6 million.
Right, and that's not difficult to do. You act like that's impossible.
But that's not there yet.
Because the only guys they got on big money deals they don't have no dudes on big money deals. They got Joel Embiid on a rookie contract. They got Ben Simmons on a rookie contract.
What other pieces do they have that I'm going to give you?
They got picks, bro. They still got picks. They just got a pick from Mikal Bridges.
I don't want no pick for Kawhi Leonard.
If you're trying to rebuild, you're going to need to try to get some young players.
No, I don't want no pick. I need a player of somewhat quality all-star player. Let me give you a prime example.
Go ahead.
Let me give you a prime example. The Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers wanted somewhat of an all-star back. Granted, Isaiah Thomas ended up being hurt, being injured, but they got an all-star player back, and they also got the 8th pick in the draft. I have to get value back. So I got to go to Boston. Not saying that they don't have no player on their roster besides Embiid and Bill Simmons, who I want. Ben Simmons.
You wouldn't take a Markelle Fultz and a Covington and a Saric.
No.
All right. I say that. All right.
I'm going to Boston. I'm saying if I'm the Spurs. Now I'm the Spurs can do what they want to do. Obviously, I'm not in there. The West is out the question.
Why?
Why would I send him west? I get no benefit to making another team in the Western Conference better.
At some point or another, you're going to have to face him, period. So why be so scared? That's like a scared move. If the Lakers, stay with me. If the Lakers are willing to give you some great pieces, because we talk about pieces now, tell me that Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and maybe some picks, tell me those are not young, talented players.
They are young, talented players. Without question, that have proven themselves.
So if I can get an Ingram and a Kuzma and some picks, I don't exactly know all the picks the Lakers have, but I know they have some stuff. That's out of the question. I'm not even going to listen to see if that makes my team better. You had DeJounte Murray, and you had Kuzma, and you had Ingram.
Those sound sexy. I'm just with one thing with the Spurs is that I'm not. If I got a top. This is a different type of player. You have a top 5 player. Arguably, a lot of people think he can be the 3rd best player in this league. He's the best 2-way player in the league when healthy. If I'm the Spurs, I want a lot of value back. Though what you said from the Lakers proposed, it sounds good. I like that if that's the case. But I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him 4 times a year, and I don't want to see him if I got to go to the playoffs. I'm going to send him to the Eastern Conference away from me, and there's some teams out there that can get that done. It's a difference if I can't get a quality deal done in the Eastern Conference. But it's some teams in the Eastern Conference where I can get a deal done, and I don't have to see Kawhi Leonard 4 times a year. That's just how I was. If I was the Spurs, I would run the organization. Now on the flip side of this, I don't know why Kawhi wants to go home and just think that the Lakers is the answer. If it's the Lakers, we don't know if it's the Lakers or the Clippers. I don't know why he feel like that's the answer unless you just want a fresh start, because that's not the answer. Going over there, you still got to try to put this together. And on top of this, let me ask you a question. Let's just reverse the whole scenario. You the Lakers. You giving up Ingram, you giving up Kuzma, and you ain't saw Kawhi Leonard run one sprint?
I would be willing to take that chance because many people feel like
You're willing to take that chance.
Let me finish. Many people feel like if they can get Kawhi, they can get LeBron. So if I got to give up Uzma and if I got to give up Kuzma and Ingram to get Kawhi, and I feel pretty good that we're going to get LeBron, I give up whatever it takes to have Kawhi and LeBron on my squad, and we're going rock with the Western Conference.
Without working out for you.
Well, I don't think they would do that, bro. Like, why would you think that we're going to trade the man and we don't have no idea?
We just saw Isaiah Thomas get traded. We saw Cleveland want to bag out the trade at the 9th inning because the test results were not right. And they still went through with it, which was one of the worst moves ever. Because once the doctors tell me that he may not be able to go, the deal is off the table. But I don't know if I want to give up all my assets for Kawhi Leonard, and I ain't seen him run one sprint.
Well, I hear what you're saying. As an organization, certainly you're going to take a strong look at the medicals. Even if they don't have them into the facility to actually work them out, you're going to take a strong look at the medicals. And some people, hold on. Some people felt like Kawhi could have played last year. That's some of the issue where he didn't want to leave it all out there on the line and didn't want to come back. So he could have played if he wanted to.
I'm going to go by with the reports. The San Antonio Spurs thought he could play. The San Antonio Spurs cleared him. He said he wasn't healthy.
Right.
So I'm going by what he said. So he got to prove to me he's healthy. I don't know if I'm just going to give up everything that I built. The Lakers are on the verge of building something special. Now, it's a difference in signing a Paul George and LeBron James. And I think Paul George has had a little minor surgery after the season was over. But I'm not giving up all my assets for these unhealthy products. You know what I mean? LeBron James is healthy, but I'm not going to do that.
If you want the big reward, sometimes you got to take the big risk.
Well, I just see.
That's the big risk.
This is the thing. Chris Paul's been injury prone.
Yep.
And every time it gets to the crunch time, he's been hurt.
That's what we said.
He's been hurt every time. I mean, you like wishing and hoping.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the flip side of the equation.
You like moral victories. You cool with a moral victory. You cool with a moral victory.
What are you talking about, bro?
You cool with a moral victory.
What are you talking
Chris
about?
Paul gives you moral victories.
Bruh, I'm not even
Chris
on
Paul
Chris Paul.
gives you moral victories.
I'm not even on Chris Paul. I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard. So you making an analogy, but I'm not even on that. Hold on. Here's the deal. When healthy, we know what Kawhi Leonard can be. He can be a defensive player of the year. He can be an MVP candidate. As good as we think, as good as we, hope that a Kuzma and Ingram could be, we still don't know if they could be Kawhi Leonard. So it's not a moral victory. If I got LeBron and I got Kawhi, I feel strongly I can get to the finals. Holding on to some dudes that have potential that we don't know if ever be realized, I'm here to go for it all. This the LA Lakers. This the purple and gold. This magic. This championship. Well, we got 16 titles. I have no idea if Ingram and Kuzma can give me a title. I know Bron can give me there.
Let's so LeBron pretty much is. Okay. We threw Boston out. I threw Boston out a couple weeks ago, and said LeBron can go to Boston. So it's the same. So you're telling me the same scenario is with the Celtics.
What's that?
So you're telling me Celtics should give up all their pieces if they got a chance to get Kawhi?
Well, the Celtics have more pieces to work with. Because, stay with me.
Just answer my question. It's the same thing.
It's not because the Celtics have more pieces.
You don't think the price tag is going to be high?
But the Celtics have all the Lakers' best pieces are like an Ingram and a Kuzma, maybe a Randall. The Celtics have Hayward or Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or Kyrie, they'll still have legit players. Even if you trade a couple of those players away, they still have a strong, talented group of guys to go to war with, and they have more picks than everybody else. They got a Memphis pick, they got a Clippers pick, they have their own pick. They have more pieces to part with, so I won't be as bare. That's a good word. If I'm the Celtics, I won't be as bare. So to me, it's not the same comparison because they have more as a starting point to work with.
And we're forgetting the fact that the San Antonio Spurs do not have to make a move right now.
They do not.
They can wait till February 2019
to the trade deadline.
To the trade deadline to get them a pick. So as we sit here and hope that they're going to make a move, I mean, they can wait till the pot get real sweet. They can wait till it get really, really sweet to make a move.
Yeah, the thing about it is, according to the reports that's out there, LeBron James wants to decide fairly quickly once everything opens up July 1st and you can sign July 6th. And many people believe that LeBron doesn't want to go to LA without having a strong sense that another star will go with him. So that hurries up the timeline for the Lakers. It doesn't for the Spurs, but it hinders the Lakers because if the Spurs are taking all day, then LeBron might just go ahead and say, what? Forget it, man. I'll just stay in Cleveland, make the most of what I have here at home. That's the only thing. But that would really mess the Lakers up if the Spurs take their sweet time. And they don't, like you said, they don't have to rush. You were true. You're right.
One thing I think we're forgetting about when it comes to Kawhi, and this is something that I've just been observing. It seems like we're talking about hunger versus happiness. We forget that Kawhi already has a championship ring and a finals MVP. So it's different when you have never been to the promised land, you've never seen the mountaintop, and you grind it, you really want to get there. All he's saying, he want to go to LA, be it LA, the Lakers or the Clippers. The main thing is he want to go home. He's willing to sacrifice money to do it. So are we talking about hunger versus happiness? Because if we're talking about hunger, he's going to try to go to the best team possible with the best chance to win. And he's willing, from what I've heard and what I've been seeing, he's willing to go to LA just to go to LA, period.
Yeah, and he's a California guy. You know what I mean? So I want to be back where I'm from. I want to be back in a familiar surroundings. I want to be back home, as they say, like a Paul George. Here's the thing, though. And you were talking about Boston. We know Kawhi only has 1 year left on his deal. And after that, he'll become an unrestricted free agent. And he has said he wants to go to L.A. So you felt like Boston, I guess, I don't know if you felt like Boston was the place, but if you're Boston...
No, I think obviously you got to put that in consideration. He's got 1 year left. It's a guy you can't talk to. I don't think by him being under contract, you can't talk to him. I mean, you can talk to his camp to see if he's going to be willing to sign a max deal with you. You can try to get that from his agent.
But you don't know.
But you never know.
Would you be willing to go ahead without any guarantees and part with some good? You wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe he wants to be at home and he wants to play, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not wrong with that. It's not many times that players get an opportunity to go home and play for their home, maybe their favorite hometown team, maybe with the Clippers or the Spurs. The Clippers or the Lakers is one of his favorite teams of all time. I think it goes back to Kawhi doing what's best for him, and he's in the situation to do that. But also, I just think he's asking a lot from these organizations without a guarantee that he's going to sign back. So publicly, they've said that he wants to be in L.A., in Los Angeles. So the Lakers can take that chance more so than the Boston Celtics, or the 76ers or somebody else. They can actually take that chance because he said, or his camp came out his camp that he wants to be in LA and Los Angeles.
And let me say this. Once again, we had Jabari on last week, and he's right there. He's connected, and we hear a lot about his uncle. According to Jabari, Kawhi Leonard is a very smart guy, and Kawhi knows what he wants. So whereas so many people say the uncle has been in his ear, according to a guy who covers the team on a daily basis, the uncle is just the mouthpiece for what Kawhi wants. So I think that's something that we need to clear up, and I think that's a misconception out there, whereas maybe the uncle is, putting thoughts in his head. Kawhi is just not a guy that talks a lot. So his uncle delivers the message. But the message is ultimately how Kawhi feels and how Kawhi wants. And I think that's something that a lot of people talk about. His uncle meddles and maybe his uncle is messing things up. Kawhi is a very confident guy that's close with his family and he knows what he wants, Antoine. So I think that's important to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that part, and I'm not against that. I mean, I'm on the player side. When they're getting, one thing about this league, when you have an opportunity to have control of your destiny and control of how much money you make, you take full advantage of that. I don't think it's the brightest move to leave $220 million on the table. You're taking the approach that he was not offered that. I think he was offered that.
Okay.
And if you offer $220 million, I think it's crazy that you turn that down.
Now,
I'm going to get the 220 first.
Okay.
Then I'm going to tell the team I don't want to be there. I'm going to get the 220 first, though. That's just me. See, when you from the hood, when you from like the south side, when you from like the south side of Chicago, I don't know what Kawhi Leonard's from.
It's true.
You're from Los Angeles.
Well, I mean, I don't know what part of Los Angeles he's from. Maybe from like the Valley or Calabasas, like maybe from one of those nice parts. But 220 to me. So you got $220 million off in front of you. I'm gonna get the 220 first. Then I'm gonna tell the Spurs I don't like it here.
Well,
that's what I would do.
but hold on though.
But that's somebody I'm from 53rd number, so that's a little different.
Hold on now. Hold on.
And my family, guess what? And my family, all the people that you just said that like got
His
help me,
uncle,
the
and all
uncle,
that.
everybody. When I get this 220, the uncle and everybody straight.
Yeah.
We ain't worried about LA, because guess what we gonna do now with this 220? We gonna fly to LA anytime we feel like it.
Anytime.
Fly to San Antonio. So I don't know. I mean, it's different. My thing is you're in a good team, good organization. I mean, if you feel like the words, because Tony Parker and Michael Ginobili and Popovich didn't say the right things when you were hurt, and that bothered you that much. But I got 220 million reasons why it didn't hurt me that much.
First of all,
Yeah, talk to me.
It's a valid point.
not really. That's not really a
Yeah.
valid point. That's not really a valid point. And here's why. I don't know the specific contract details, but certainly the Spurs are the only team that can offer him the Supermax 220. Even if he goes someplace else, he can still get about 180. So let's get real out here. The difference between 180 and 220, that's $40 million. But $180 million is still a hell of a lot of money, though. So to say my family ain't gonna be set, I can go where I'm happy and still get $180 million. Plus, hold on. He already made $94 million, so it ain't like he hurting anyway. So if I get the 180 plus the 90 I already made, that's $270 million. What we talking about here, bro? What we talking about?
You're not in position.
Now this SouthSideHeat right here.
You're not in position to count his money.
I'm not.
So you can't say 94 is good enough.
But no.
Listen, no. You said no. Let me finish. You got what you want to get off your chest. Let me get mine off my chest. You said 94 million, so he was already cool. No, let me tell you something. He's hurt right now, right? He probably had an injury right now that could mess him up for life. Correct? We haven't seen him come back yet, right?
True.
So I have a small window in my life, a very small window in my life, to make this kind of money. I'm making all of it. I'm not taking no pay cut.
180 million.
Listen. There you go again.
Million.
There you get on the flip side of things. You count somebody else's pockets.
That's what you doing.
No, I'm not. I can get 220. I'm not counting none. I'm gonna take all mine. This is what's offered to me. This is what I can get.
I don't think you see my point.
I do see your point. It's like saying he can just take 100 million.
Nah.
That's
I ain't say that.
Why not?
I ain't say that.
Why? Guess what? You just said it. You just said he got 94.
But that wasn't my point though. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. My point was this. This was my point.
Is what?
Hold on. Let me get my point. My point was this. If he goes to another team, he can still get 180.
Listen.
My point wasn't the 94 he already made. My exact point was he's still going to get like 180. Yeah, that's 40 less, but your family still will be in a very good position for 180 million, and you can be where you want to be. That's my point. So I'm not counting his pockets. You saying I'm from the south side, so I got to get all my 220 so we can be straight. I'm saying I'm from the south side, and you'll be straight with 180.
No, I'm going to get 220.
Okay.
I'm going to get 220.
Like you want your extra 40.
No,
you want your extra 40.
No, my deal is I'm with the Spurs.
Right.
I'm eligible for the Supermax.
Right.
I'm going to take my Supermax.
I hear you.
I'm going to just give you a prime example. Did Steph Curry take a pay cut?
No.
I'm just asking you.
He did not take a pay cut.
Did Russell Westbrook take a pay cut?
He did not take a pay cut. But we saw Kevin Durant did take a pay cut last year.
Let's see.
Guys
Now,
have taken a pay cut.
But you know what? If I was Kevin Durant, they both were free agents last summer, right? You know what I would have told Steph Curry? I'm gonna take one. You take one.
Yeah.
Difference. I'm taking all mine too now. There's a difference. It's what you have a short window to make this kind of money. So I'm gonna make the money while I can. These owners not taking a pay cut. They're not gonna take a pay cut. Period. Kawhi cool. It's like I'm just saying. I'm looking at the situation. The situation itself. You saying be happy. Let's really think about it. Why wouldn't he be happy? Technically, what's coming?
He got beef with the
He
organization.
got beef because they said we want you to play. That's not that hard. They have medical. They have. Let me tell you something about professional sports. They have the best doctors in the world. I think a lot of you guys think the owners are the ones in charge of paying these guys. Every contract is insured by these these insurance companies, and the doctors. They are the ones that make sure that you get your money. So let's start with that first. These doctors are not going to clear him if he's not ready to play.
But whose interest do the doctors have at heart?
They got the team interest at heart.
Well, he
But
got
they
his own interest at
then,
heart.
so he said he was not ready, right?
Right.
Okay then. Them medical staff said he was ready. That's a disagreement. That's a disagreement. I got 220 million reasons why I'm okay with that. Okay, we disagree. I'm gonna get my money. That's what's wrong. You can't continue to say, "Oh, I'm not." You are. They at the highest of their profession, man. You don't think LeBron James is happy? This is enjoyable to go through this. LeBron James is happy, man. You think LeBron James don't wake up every morning happy to see him leading our sports center for the last 3 weeks? Damn, let's try the last 6 weeks. He enjoys that. It's the reason why you don't think he enjoys that. You don't think LeBron James knew if he put that cast on when he walked out of Game 4 that he was gonna get talked about? He know that. One thing about you gotta know these guys, they're very bright and smart. They know exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Exactly what they're doing. Period. I'm not saying that. I understand where you're coming from. You're saying 180 is cool and the 220. Oh, but at the end of the day, it's a Supermax deal that's in front of me. It's my team. It's my organization. It's still my show. I get 220. If I don't like it, now I'm gone.
I think it's difficult for us to.
If he takes the 220, does Kawhi trade value go down? Is any of those teams that want him not going to give him 220?
I don't have the answer to that one, bro. I don't have the answer to that one. Would they still want to trade him for that huge contract? He probably still would have good trade value. He probably still would have good trade value.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, if I'm Kawhi Leonard, man, look, I want to get my money.
I hear you.
Get my 220. I understand you might, right now, LA. But, it's funny to me when I see guys, everybody's LA now because Magic took over the team. Everything's like, oh, it's LA now.
Yeah.
When Miss Kupchak had it, wasn't, let's get to LA.
Because they ain't trust him.
Magic,
They ain't think he was headed in the right direction.
Magic ain't got no magical no paycheck that he can give you.
He
He
does.
got to give you what's in the rules.
He
So
does.
it's just funny to me, and I just think I do understand what he's saying, what you've done for an organization. Obviously you want them to speak very highly of you. Obviously he's a tough competitor. We both believe that Kawhi Leonard is tough. I don't believe he was faking it. I believe he didn't feel 100%. Came back 9 games. His body probably was not reacting the way he wants to. And when you're not able to play the way you want to, he's a very athletic guy. He's a guy to play both ends of the floor. He probably didn't feel right. And it's unfortunate that Pop and them wanted him back, but these are the doctors. They probably was like, there was no other treatment to give him besides you can go 50 different places, but this is the same. We can't give you no other treatment.
Yeah.
We're treating the injury the way it is.
I think it's difficult for us on the outside to say how he should feel about the team and how everything went down because we don't have all the information. You played in the league, so you know how some things happen with teams, and everybody don't always know the full story. So whether it was about how they handled the injury, and he might have feel like he got misdiagnosed and they didn't handle him well. There was some comments that came out about Tony Parker saying my injury was 100 times worse. The way Popovich continuously said his camp, how he just feels like he wants to move on from the organization and he doesn't feel like the organization is a good fit, I think it's hard for us to say he should get over it, take the money. That's not a big deal. Everybody got I think it's difficult because we don't know all the pieces.
Well, I know, but they control your fate. It's tough to do that when you have another year left in your contract.
True indeed.
So you give them ammunition to do what they want to do to you. I think it's a better way to do it than the way he did.
But the flip side is, though, all right, say you don't want to trade me, then next year you're gonna get nothing because I'm gonna walk. You know what I mean? When I opt out. He could feel like he's doing him a courtesy because you could trade me and get something.
Does he feel like he's doing him a courtesy?
That's one way to look at it.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. But at the end of the day, that's probably not what he was trying to accomplish. He probably was really telling them, "I want out," or somebody from his camp leaked it that he wants out. I just think it's a better way to go by it than the way he went by it because they have control now. Now, let's hypothetically say they hold on to him in February. Now you got to go play because now you got to eventually say you're healthy.
True.
Because now your whole situation's on the line. You getting moved. A team wanting to sign you. You got to show you healthy, so you got to play hard. So now you're playing for an organization, a coach you don't want to be a part of anymore. I mean, it just makes for a bad situation. The Spurs can play this however way they want to. They can be professional and take care of it in the first 2-3 days of free agency and trade him to LA and get it done. Or they can hold on to him to 2019 in February, man, and keep him and make him play. That's the thing about your camp and thinking you got the upper hand. You don't have the upper hand sometimes. So I just think it's a smarter way to do it. Period.
Where do you think he plays at the start of 2018, 2019? Put it on the table. At the end of the day, how do you think this plays out?
I think he'll be in the Celtic uniform.
What? Is that right?
Well, I'm assuming you got him in Lake uniform.
Yeah, I think he plays for the Lakers.
I got him in the Celtic uniform.
We'll see how it all plays out. Certainly, that will be one of the top storylines as free agency opens up on July 1st, and we continue in the offseason. Kawhi Leonard definitely not on the same page with the Spurs. Can it be repaired? We'll continue to follow that story. So much more to get to. We haven't even broken down LeBron James and where might he play next season in 2018-2019. Stay with the Southside Heat, coming right back.
Okay, I'm sorry. What part of the South Side are you from that you willing to take 40
I'm from
million off?
Hunts.
I'm from the Hunters too, and we
One
ain't taking
block
no
off
shorts, no
Austin.
losses. I was sitting there like, bro, don't even claim that. Just
One
be
block
like,
off Austin.
just be like, I'm gonna do
40
this.
mil?
Y'all got
That's
to
a
talk.
lot to leave on
Y'all
the
got to
table.
talk to them, and I was thinking to myself,
Bruh.
is that your role? No,
But do you
don't.
hear what I'm saying,
No, I don't hear what you're saying.
180 million?
No,
We're talking
pause.
180 million, folks.
Versus 220, bruh. I
hear
want
you.
all man.
I hear you.
All man.
I want to be where I want to be. So that's just how I feel.
That's why I said it's hunger versus happiness.
I'll put my
Yeah.
180 million
Is he
and
really
where I want to
hungry?
be. I'm cool with that.
If he's really
Because
hungry,
for
he's
real,
taking the 220.
people say for him.
All he
Right.
cares about
People
is
say
his
for him,
happiness.
it's not about
He's
the
taking
money.
that 40 million
People
off.
say for him, it's not about the money. That's what they say.
I was
For him.
curious.
So you would do
Hunger
this.
versus
Let me
happiness.
ask you a question. Seriously. So say like you can make a good job, making $1 million,
Oh, wait, did I jump
living in
into
LA.
Did I jump into the pool?
Same
I'm trying to
job,
figure out what
same.
the fuck
No,
was y'all
no,
two
let's
getting
say
today?
you
Well, no,
can
because
make
I was
$1 million in LA,
I got
and you got another job offer.
And she
You
supposed to
can
have
make
a show.
$650 in Chicago.
And then I'm like, wait, who got her phone number? And then Bob sent me the number. And I'm like,
Am I here
oh,
already?
She was like, I ain't
You here right now?
So
Like
what
if
you doing?
tomorrow you got this offer to go to LA and make a meal,
or you can
or you can make $650.
I mean, what you want me to
It
say?
don't matter, but
No,
I
which
said I
one
was
would you
gonna
take?
come.
I like home,
And I
bro.
thought I missed it.
So
And I
you
was
would-
like, no,
you'd
it's
leave
on
the
next
meal
one.
table
I was
and
like,
take
well, why
$650.
not?
I
You
would,
support.
in this hypothetical situation,
I know that
I would
they
strongly
act
consider
here,
doing
and
that
I'm
without knowing the exact jobs and everything like
That
that.
sounds so fucked up.
Everything
Both
say,
do.
everything I
No,
always say.
both ideal jobs, both of them nice.
Ideal job.
But just one paying
So now
more
we're
than
probably gonna go to Mariano's and get some Gary or
Because that's pretty much what Kawhi going through.
something
He
healthy,
same
I guess.
thing.
Well, what y'all doing?
One Pam
Y'all
one
wanna eat?
Yeah, them numbers are so much
Yeah,
higher
where
level
that
though.
at?
Like 220, 180.
Oh, I ain't
But
saying
Say just like 5 million.
I show up to the event, but I'm not putting,
type shit.
I'm not moving no
So
boxes.
you gotta put the taxi thing. And
I'll move some direct, some
so cost of
traffic.
living is very high.
See all this
So
goddamn
Texas,
equipment we
yeah.
always went.
That's how
Oh,
you
no,
gonna
no,
net
no.
on
I'll
that.
move traffic though if you
Now
need.
you going over here, you go over for the 180 for the net.
I'll take
Great
that.
shit.
You go floor direct?
90, you gonna get
Yeah.
90,
Oh my gosh, I'm the best floor director ever.
86 probably something like that. You
Wait, what do you have to
know what
wear?
I'm saying? You stay in San Antonio, that's how you feel.
Do I have to wear a suit? I got a nice
You
suit.
gotta wear a suit. Pots look good.
So that's
that's
becomes a little
natural.
bit steeper than
I'm gonna
that.
go home and touch my clothes.
But-
So what time we doing this?
That's the toughest
Yeah.
stuff.
We need
That's what
people
I'm saying.
gonna
That's what's
work.
up.
We need people gonna work.
Because
I
you
am
have
gonna
in
work.
Chicago,
Yeah, you know,
once
direct
Chicago
right.
be your home.
Right.
Here,
That's
I mean,
Yeah,
from the
no.
carpet to the show. I mean,
That's
Take it
real.
over
That's a
that way.
real job.
But
I was gonna say that's a real
Man,
that is a
job.
real
You
job.
need
Tell me
somebody
this,
like
though.
me.
You
I'm
gotta chase
sorry,
the
where
money
you
or something.
going?
But
No,
take-
yeah, boo. You're not
Hold
going.
on right here,
Sorry,
right
can't
here.
be
Like,
Bob Moore.
I understand taxes. I understand the agent.
But we gotta go
I
south
understand the financial manager.
Exactly.
But tell me this
So we
though.
gonna
Me
have to go south
personally,
first.
I
It don't
can't
matter. I'm a
stand
crash.
220.
And pay to get in that
180.
bitch and acting fool.
So that's gonna be my
somebody better let me in.
for the generations
What
after
y'all
that could
doing
piss
after
that
the
money
show?
off. I don't even know what's gonna happen to that. So either way,
Set up
I'm
for
not
this
gonna be on
event.
food
So you
stamps.
chasing
set up for this event tonight.
Yeah, man.
What event?
Yeah, bro.
Big three.
But from that perspective, just from that.
Wait,
you
is
see what
this
I'm
not a
saying?
party?
You personally, Antoine,
Yeah.
or me, I can't spend 180
What do you think?
on my own.
3:30.
Oh hell no, that's super early. You know, divas can't show up till about 4.
Yeah, I guess.
But you don't need all of that to direct traffic.
I know you can't. You just need to get this shit.
Left, right,
What? Will text you?
right.
Like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
going back and forth. I'm telling you, forget it, man. We
All
can't.
right,
What
we
he
out
saying?
here.
Say stuff.
Tacos.
Going back and forth.
He ain't got no, estimated time. Like he ain't got no
Have him
Google
call-
Maps.
have him call in.
What time? Let's go. What's your name?
Clement.
Clement. Nice to meet you. I watched like maybe one or
Maybe I
two
can promise
shows,
him
and
that.
he wasn't here, but you
I can
was.
promise him
I'm
that.
sure me and Tori are gonna be there.
I liked it. I didn't use really a lot of the information
Coming back.
that you said.
Coming
But I
back, 10
used to like-
seconds.
Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker back on the Southside Heat. Man, we really got into it about Kawhi Leonard. I didn't expect us to really go that deep into it.
I mean,
That was good radio.
I think we both have both our opinions are legit.
We both feel strongly about our
Yeah,
opinions.
I see where you're coming from. I mean, at that point, you're chasing. I think happiness is very important. I mean, it's nothing like doing your job and being happy doing your job and going to your job. So
Right.
if that's the case, then Kawhi needs to be in a better place. I'm looking at the opportunity to make the kind of money that he can make, and I think when you look at yourself and you look at an injury that he had, you look at the injury that he had, sometimes you got to put that in perspective that I need to get this money for security purposes. But, think about it. And the only reason I say that, and I think I got to make that point a little bit more clear, is that I know they will pay him $220, whatever his body is right now.
Okay.
That probably makes make people understand what I'm saying. They will pay him $220 right now, with his body being the way it is. And I'm not sure, because they could have put the approach limit that you said and didn't offer him $220.
I truly think that would have come out. I think that would have come out.
You think they didn't offer him, and
I think we'd have heard that.
you think he would have turned
Whether
it
it's
down?
Adrian Wojnarowski, whether it's Shams, whether it's all the insiders, if they offer him that, that's a huge piece of the story.
Yeah, that's true.
And I just feel like
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're privy to the information. They supposedly have their sources. They believe who their sources are. But I'm not gonna say their sources are always 100%. They can go out on the limb too, and make a prediction and a guess on what they think things are gonna happen. Or they can know that third party and think that in between friend.
yeah.
They may be giving them the information. They'll think that's the right person.
LeBron James has a decision to make. Will he opt in with the Cleveland Cavaliers? He has until Friday to make that decision, which will be June 29th. If he opts in, then he will get paid $35.6 million next season. If he goes ahead and opts in, he could potentially do a sign and trade. That's what Chris Paul did with the Clippers last year, opted in and then was traded to the Houston Rockets. Or he could just go ahead and opt out and be an unrestricted free agent. I remember, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, where you gave your top 5 spots. I do remember you felt like Cleveland was number 1 in terms of where LeBron would go.
Well, if you him, let's just break it down like this. Let's just start off, and let's start from your opinion. If you were LeBron James, I mean, let's say obviously you're saying you're opting out, right?
So I would opt out to be unrestricted.
So you're definitely opting out. So you're leaving 35.6 on the table, which is not crazy, not nothing crazy, especially not for him.
Right.
So it's not like he can't get that money on the market. So everybody understands what I'm saying. He's going to get. LeBron James will start at $35.4 million next year, so he won't lose any money. But what would you go if he was LeBron James?
See, once again, what is he trying to accomplish? That's the thing I think it always goes back to, and that we always discuss. Are you trying to win championships? Are you trying to be happy? You know, what's important? How much does your family, how big of a role does your family play into it?
Let's try to be LeBron James for a second. Me and you try to be LeBron James. The first part of my career, the first 4 or 5 years of my career, I wanted to win. I could never really get a superstar to come play with me. I tried really hard in Cleveland to build an organization to bring a championship to Cleveland. And did he stay, LeBron stayed 7 years?
Where?
The first 7 was
the first in Cleveland? That sounds about right.
Okay, so you stayed there. It didn't work. As a free agent, you start getting this pressure that, hey, you're a very good player. You just got swept from the finals. You got a little taste of getting to the finals. You want to compete, and you want to win an NBA championship. You know, to get my career, I'm LeBron James. To get my career to the next level, I got to play for championships. Makes a great move. Partners with D. Wade, Chris Bosh. Win 2 out of 4 championships. Great move. Goes back to Cleveland. His dream was to one day bring a championship to Cleveland. Give him credit. He pulled it off. He's been to 4 straight finals. Right now, Clement, I got to go with, I'm actually on your side with this because now it's a little different. Kids are a little older. They're playing basketball now. They're getting heavy into it. Your happiness, you got 3 rings. You've been to 8 consecutive finals. I mean, what's going to drive me right now? 1, I want to be happy. That's probably number 1. Where would I be happy at? And 2, where can I win at? And I'm putting happiness, and I'm putting the family part and the kids and all that in the happiness part. But I think happiness is number 1.
I'm going back to when LeBron left Miami and said he was coming back to Cleveland. And he wrote a letter to SI. And there's an avid Cleveland fan on Twitter that I have conversations with, and I haven't heard many people say this, but this is something that I have kind of brought up before. In that letter, he said that he wanted to come home, and he talked about finishing his career in Cleveland. I'm trying to pull up that exact part right here. This is from the letter when he said he was coming back. I always believed that I returned to Cleveland and finish my career there. I just didn't know when. I looked at other teams, but I wasn't going to leave Miami for anywhere except Cleveland. The more time passed, the more it felt right. This is what makes me happy. So that's LeBron James 4 years ago. The letter that he wrote through or with Lee Jenkins to announce to the world that he was coming back to Cleveland, talking about finishing his career in Cleveland. And I think you heard me say it before. I feel like it would just be such a stain on his legacy and such a backhanded slap to the city to talk about wanting to finish your career there, and this place makes you happy, and then 4 years later, I'm out again, and I don't think you could come back, so you would never finish your career. If you talk about finishing your career somewhere, I don't think he had in mind a one-day type of Paul Pierce, one day with the Celtics to, you know what I'm talking about, Antoine, the ceremonious type of thing, the ceremonial type thing to put your jersey on. To me, that should mean something, bro. That should mean something.
I'm a loyal guy when it comes to the situation that LeBron got. Every player in this league, when they get to a certain point, they want to win. 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 don't have the luxury that LeBron James has had. I think Kobe Bryant had that luxury, where the organization has been behind him 120%. I know we had that one spell where Kobe thought about leaving and actually thought about leaving L.A., but when you really think about it, the way the Lakers took care of Kobe and how they laid it out for him, he's really been the only player outside of LeBron James. Now, I'm gonna dig a little deep into that. When LeBron James, when you talk about happiness, LeBron James has the organization in a headlock. And I'm not just talking about contractual-wise. I'm talking about from his floor seats, from his best friend travels on a plane with them. They have signed multiple players that your best friend represents. Also, I put into play, you control whether or not who they hire as a coach. They fired a head coach for you and kept your guy, T. Lue. I just don't think no other organization 16 years in, and I know LeBron James is great, is going to do the things for LeBron off the court that he gets done in Cleveland. I don't think that, he probably would never admit this, but I think that's why him and Pat Riley bumped heads too. Okay. Because I know Pat didn't want to give in to all those things. To Randy flying on the plane with them. I saw him do it with Shaq. Jerome flew on the plane with Shaq. I saw him do that.
Those are associates, or who are those people?
Fake bodyguards, fake assistants. Joe Boy. It's like me grab you, Clement, and say, I just want you with me. It was one of those situations. But I don't think no other team or organization at this point in LeBron's career is going to do that for him. And not saying that's a deal breaker for LeBron to go to another team, but I'm just saying all the things that come along with that. I would love for him to stay there. I think the only problem with Cleveland right now, his team is a little older. He does have to get a little younger. If he wants to be Golden State, it's going to be difficult right now with the roster that's in place without having another bona fide scorer. But he still can dominate the East. I think LeBron James likes being in the position that he's in, where he's playing 40 minutes a night and people are giving him all his praise and he's able to take a team to the finals. I think he enjoys that aspect of things. And I believe that when you look at it, his son's going to be in 8th grade. And, you don't want to move him around in high school. I know you got AAU basketball, but, he probably wants to put him somewhere where he can play 4 years and enjoy himself. I'm sure he's got friends now that they've now grown to be some of his best friends. You got to remember, my best friend was from when I was 9, 10, 11 years old. Right. These are the friends that you start creating to be your best friends. And I'm sure LeBron has the same thing with all his guys back there. His family's there. His friends. It's a lot for him to stay in Cleveland. I think why people believe that LeBron's leaving, I think they believe that the relationship between him and Dan Gilbert is tarnished, that it cannot be repaired. But, shit, I don't know how you go back after what happened the first time. So big things have transpired because it seems like this is coming out even more. Obviously, the David Griffith, the GM fire, he was not happy with that. Yeah. And then the Kyrie trade. We've heard him say numerous times that he wanted them not to just trade, Kyrie Irving and just bring him to training camp and try to see if they could figure it out. Those are two major things. Are those deal breakers? No, I think LeBron James can continue to always keep his arm around Dan Gilbert's neck and sign a 2-year deal and sign a 1-year deal. He always can have that type of control. But I'm with you. I would love to see him stay in Cleveland. Okay. I think it keeps the balance of the Eastern Conference stays balanced. Obviously, the West is still lopsided. I look at James Harden, which I love. We're going to get to his awards and all that. We'll get to that part. But James Harden, when he was asked a question about LeBron, he said, we fine. Mm-hmm. He said, we fine. And that's what an MVP is supposed to say. Mm-hmm. We fine. You don't go out and go get another MVP. No, we got one here. We okay. I'm going to get us over the hump. And that's what I loved about James Harden, his statement. So if I'm LeBron James, I hear that, well, Houston scratched off my list. I don't want to go no place nobody don't want me. So those are things like that. So it'd be interesting to see what LeBron James does. and we'll see Clement if he chase happiness.
I still want to read another part, and I know I read a little
Man,
part.
you breaking LeBron down right now, boy. Go ahead.
Because the guy brought
I
this
know,
up.
but you know you get hurt when you breaking them down right now.
He said, this is when he left Miami to come back to Cleveland. He said, this is not about the roster or the organization. I feel my calling here goes above basketball. My presence can make a difference in Miami, but I think it can mean more where I'm from. I want kids in Northeast Ohio, like the hundreds of Akron third graders I sponsored through my foundation, to realize that there's no better place to grow up. That would make me smile. Our community, which has struggled so much, needs all the talent it can get. I'm ready to accept the challenge. I'm coming home. So to feel like that, man, to be so passionate and feel like it's not just about basketball, but it's about pride and confidence and self-esteem. You played the game, so I don't know if you can relate to this, but a lot of people have a sense of pride in how well their team does. Like, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I'm from Akron, Cleveland. That's where LeBron is from.
Oh, without question, I could take you back to the time when I played in Boston. So in my first 7 years, when I got there, we won 15 games. We were horrible. I was like, man, I want to get this team back to the playoffs because there's so much tradition. There's so many championships, so many banners, so many great Hall of Fame players. All I kept telling myself is I want to be one of those guys. I want to be the guy to turn this organization around. Lo and behold, we draft Paul Pierce. I get some help, and now we able to finally make the playoffs. Farthest I got was to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we was able to make a run. So when I got traded, I felt betrayed. Not necessarily that they did something wrong to me. New management, Danny Ainge took over, new GM. They had a different approach on a different direction they wanted to go. But in my eyes, I was like, I'm a Celtic. We here. We knocking at the door. You know what I mean? I was like in tears almost when they traded me because I thought that was home.
Right.
I thought that was an opportunity for me to be, that's going to be home. I'm going to get a chance to bring a championship there. So I understand that. I can even understand even more for LeBron and why he went back.
Because it is home.
Because it is home. So I understood that. So I understood the emotion and everything that went along with that. I'm with you, Clement. That can't just be the end chapter. See, I think it can't be the end chapter because I don't want to leave on a sweep. I'm just saying, I don't want to leave on a sweep. You know, I mean, obviously, sometimes there's no storybook in it. I want to leave like Michael left.
That's tough to do. But
Hey, I want to leave like Michael left. I know it's tough to do, but that's what I want to leave like. I want to leave with that wrist. I want to leave with the wrist up, with the ring and the wrist.
But he's probably
But-
he's one of the only people that left like that.
But think about it. That's the challenge.
Kobe left with what, a 70 ball or a 60 ball?
But Clement,
Yeah.
Clement, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. That's what I'm selling.
Yeah.
That's if I'm T. Lou.
Yeah.
If that's I'm the GM. I'm Dan Gilbert. Let's leave right. You want to leave. If that's the case, you want to leave. I'm going to leave with that wrist up. We got some unfinished business here. The last game you saw me, I got swept with a cast on. That's the last vision of LeBron James.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah, my thing is, hey, look, let's leave the right way.
That's a good selling point.
You know what I mean? So I'm in agreement with you. I think that if I'm gonna go and if I gotta go, I understand it. If you're not happy and you're putting the happiness on this, but the ball, everything that's off the court, on the court, everything you can think of is in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's in Cleveland. Because guess what? I'm going to probably play 3-4 more years. Obviously, he's invested in LA. He's going to have a house there. The other things that you want to do, you can't really get into them. You plan the June. You basically giving yourself, you're going to take a month vacation, and then you're a workaholic, so you really ain't got time to really focus in on the other things. You can listen to different ideas. You got a business manager. You can dip and dab, and which he has. He's done a terrific job of dipping and dabbing. But you can do that. You're going to be young when you retire. LeBron's 33 years old. LeBron's probably going to retire at 38. He's got the rest of his life to live and probably going to have $1 billion.
Right.
Be worth $1 billion.
Damn close to $1 billion.
You know what I'm saying? To me, he'll be the Clement. If he takes the full deal, I was looking at this. If he takes the full 5 years, $205 million, I think that's what he could sign for. I think that's his full max. He'll have been made over $400 million playing. he'll be the highest paid NBA player ever in NBA history.
Ever.
So that's a lot of extra things. We know LeBron likes stats.
True.
We know
True
LeBron.
indeed.
We know LeBron like to be the first in a lot of different things. So those type of things stand out to me. So we'll see. You know, everybody get ready, buckle up. This will be an exciting time for basketball because we're gonna hopefully we get more of a balanced league. I know everybody was excited. I know TV ratings was up this year in the NBA, but the way those finals ended on that sweep put a big damper on the NBA season.
One note that came out on Thursday from Stephen A. Smith. He said on First Take that according to his sources, James reached out to Kevin Durant via text message and tried to gauge KD's interest in coming to LA.
I heard that.
And I don't know if it was the Lakers, it's just to Los Angeles. Stephen A. said his contact or his source did not know what KD's response was. I'm looking at a guy who's the beat reporter for the Cavs, who is on the ground and connected in Cleveland. His sources say that LeBron did not text KD and that LeBron going to the Lakers would not be sealed or doomed by whether or not they trade for Kawhi. So whether he stays or goes, that's not going to be the deciding factor about whether LeBron leaves. Could you see, because we have conflicting reports from Stephen A. and the Cavs beat reporter Joe Varden, could you see LeBron reaching out to KD to say, what do you think about joining me in Los Angeles? That seems far-fetched to me.
No, that's very far-fetched. I know Kevin Durant broke my heart and a lot of other NBA, ex-NBA players and basketball, people that love the game heart by going to Golden State. But I don't think Kevin Durant's going to do that. I think Kevin Durant cannot handle the pressure of any more so-called basketball scandal where you play at. I think Kevin Durant is going to sign back with Golden State, a no-brainer. He's going to sign back with Golden State, no-brainer. And LeBron James did not reach out to them. I know LeBron James did. LeBron James not. This decision right here, it goes back to what you said, Clement. This decision right here is going to be totally based on happiness.
Okay.
Where he's going to be happy at. And I wanted to base it on basketball, and I really wanted to, but I think LeBron James believes that, and he can, that he can win anywhere. So it's not going to be based on basketball. It's going to be based on where he feels like he can be happy, where his sons will be happy going to school. I don't think he's going to worry about whether or not if he can win a championship or not. And he's got 3 of them. I don't think he's content. But you talking about a guy that's been to 8 straight finals. So I think he's fine with that. I think he's fine with what's going to come along with that. If people say, oh, if he stays in Cleveland, oh, he's not trying to win a championship. No, I think he's going to look for his happiness. And it's crazy that you brought those stories up and when he said 4 years ago. I got to see winning the championship and the foundation that basically he's built. His mind has not changed that much. And only way and then the only other reason I can see him leaving is that's Dan Gilbert and LeBron James' relationship is that bad. I mean, I didn't think it could get any worse after the first time he left. But is it that bad? Is he that upset with David Griffin getting fired? Is he that upset with Kyrie Irving getting traded? I don't know, because I know Dan Gilbert has done some good things too. I mean, signed Tristan Thompson, signed J.R. Smith, signed Amon Shumpert, signed Kyle Korver back to a big deal. They gave Kyle Korver $24 million or something at 37 years old, keeping his team intact. So they've done a lot of good things that LeBron James has wanted.
True.
So it goes both ways in this process. So hopefully that's not the deal breaker, but that could be the only deal breaker for me. But I don't see him calling any of those guys in free agency. I think LeBron James is going to be focused on his decision. I think he believes he can win anywhere he plays at. I don't think he's going to be concerned. I think obviously it's nice to go play with a Paul George. It's nice to play a Kawhi. It's nice to play with Chris Paul, without question. But I don't think he's going to be reaching out like he did back for Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and those guys. I don't think LeBron James is going to be picking up his phone actively in the free agent market for those guys.
We feel he should stay in Cleveland. As we wrap up the segment, what do you think will happen? We think he should stay in Cleveland. Do you think that's how it ultimately ends or goes?
it's tough for me because I